Hello, hi everybody. This is it. This is the last one, your last online lesson for June. So unless you decided to do your Thursday lessons first and you still have the Monday or Tuesday ones that you're going to try out, then enjoy. But yeah, this is our Thursday lesson number 3. And again, if you're following our normal schedule and you're doing this on a Thursday, or if you're from the evening class and you're doing this on the last week here, the official Thursday class day is June 22nd, which would have been our last class. Yeah, I'm not sure if you are doing it today, because today is also the date of your field trip that I planned for you guys and that Erma and Nalini are taking you to. So that is to the Manitoba Museum, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, really great time. Or if you're doing this after the field trip, then I really hope you had a great time and that it was informative and fun. I love that museum. I haven't been there in a long time, but it just has such interesting displays. I love that part with all the animals, and I always loved the family of wolves or foxes or whatever that is. I loved that, and I love the Nonsuch, the big ship and the whole little village, and checking it out and exploring all the nooks and crannies of that and of the little old-timey town with the theater. I don't know if that's still there. I don't know. I hope it is, because it's really fun. I like watching the Charlie Chaplin movies. If it is no longer there, then you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. But it used to be the last part of the museum, right at the end, used to be that little town. So if it's still there, then that's fun too. If not, then whatever they replaced it with, I hope that's awesome. So you guys are going to have a great time, or you did have a great time, I hope. And today is really the last online class that I've prepared for you, the last one that you're going to need, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that it worked for everyone, that the videos worked and the instructions were easy to follow, and I hope that you had enough help, from Debi, from Erma, from each other in the classroom. I just really hope that it went well, and I'll be really eager to get some feedback when I return and hear about what you thought about this online video thing. Because hey, if it works, this is great for if I'm really sick and I can't teach, then maybe I can prepare some similar video lessons that I can do for you guys, just to have in the back pocket, just in case something happens. So we're learning here. I'm eager to hear your feedback. So even what you could also do is put your feedback in the comments. That's just another tool for us to use here, or the comments on YouTube. Because the videos are on YouTube, you have the chance to communicate with your classmates via the comments. So yeah, make use of that too. We got lots of tools we're playing with in this series here, so have fun with it. But you probably already did, because this is the last class, so let's get to the lesson. So again, lesson number 3, last Thursday lesson. In the last one, we did some grammar practice with articles and quantities, and we did a vivid verb activity, so that was jump we talked about. So if you missed that one, go back and find the Thursday video number 2. This one's number 3. And today we're going to be doing more practice questions. We're going to be looking at countable and uncountable nouns. And we're going to be looking at make versus do. Now, those are 2 more topics that we worked on this year with grammar. So another little test for you to make sure it's all fresh in your mind. We're also going to finish off with a categories activity. So this activity is a vocabulary activity. It's a little bit more easy, a little bit more fun. I thought it'd be a good way to wind up the last class, and I love the idea of you guys sharing your answers, so I'll get into that more once we get to that part of the lesson, but that'll be fun. Okay, let's get started with our grammar. So you need your grammar practice questions 2. So the document in your email, it has the same name, Grammar Practice Questions 2, and this is what it looks like right here. It might have some color on the computer. So we have the first set of questions are all about uncountable and countable nouns. So basically, it's going to try and test you on how well can you recognize the difference and how it fits into a sentence. So this is kind of easy to get. For each question, you can see there's a sentence with a blank space. So your goal is to fill in the blank space with the correct word, and there are 2 options written below here. So for example, for number 1, it says, the sentence is, I'm sorry for being late. I had blank with my car this morning. So the options below for filling in the blank is either trouble or troubles. So it will either say, I'm sorry for being late. I had trouble with my car this morning. Or it would be, I'm sorry for being late. I had troubles with my car this morning. So in order to figure out which one is right, you have to think, okay, first of all, is trouble, is the noun here, is it uncountable or countable? Can I count trouble? And then think, okay, sometimes some nouns, right, like food or foods, they work as countable and uncountable. Those can be confusing, and sometimes you have to pick which one it is depending on the situation. If it's a situation where there are different kinds being counted, or if it's kind of more general. So if it's more general, it's uncountable. If it's specific different kinds, then it is countable. So for trouble, right? Trouble and troubles, I've heard it used both ways. But in this sentence, we got to figure out which one fits best. You know, I had trouble with my car, or I had troubles with my car. And we're just looking at the sentence by itself. Okay, what works best in the sentence by itself? Don't start imagining, oh, if they go on to say this or that or this, then we could use it this way. Just keep it simple, right? Keep it simple and focus on that one sentence and how it fits there. So whichever one you feel is correct, whether it's trouble or troubles, all you have to do is circle that answer, and then there you go. So it's all written here for you. You don't even have to write out the sentence. Easy peasy. I'm not giving you too much work for your last class. You're lucky. So, okay, you have those, you have to flip the page. There's 8 on the first page and 2 on the second page, so a total of 10 of those questions. The next section is all about make versus do. So in class during the month of May and a little bit then of April, I think we were really delving into the differences. So when do we use make? What specific situations do we use make? And which specific situations do we use do? So in these questions, there are many sentences, so one sentence for each question with a blank space. So simple. All you need to do is determine whether or not you put make in that space or do. So to do this, you'll probably need your class notes from when we did this with the chart where it says make and do and which ones you use make with and which situations you use do with. So you'll probably need that. I hope you guys have it. If you don't have it, maybe reach out to one of your classmates and see if they do. I will try to make sure everyone has it. I'll ask around before I leave. But yeah, check with your classmates. You might have to get some help from them if you don't have the notes and you weren't here for the lessons. You'll need that to do this. Yeah, so that goes on to the next page too. There are 15 of those questions. I don't know if you can hear there might be some background noises in this video. My husband is playing card games with his buddies, so whenever my husband wins or gets a cool move or does a success, his buddy goes, "Ah!" and shouts about it. It's very fun. So you might hear a little bit of shouting in the background. Hopefully it's not too disruptive. Alright, so now I'm going to give you time to go and work on this. When you're finished, and of course, you know the answers are in your package, so just like last week and the week before, try not to cheat and look at the answers first. Try your best to finish all of these by yourself, and then press play so that we can go through and I will explain the answers, and then, you can check your answers with the paper. If you already feel like you know this really well and you don't really need a full explanation, then you can always just check the answers yourself after you're done and skip the part of the video where I explain everything. So it's nice. These videos, you have the freedom to skip over the unnecessary parts. Yeah, you don't have to get bored. Okay, go work on this. This is... Step 2. So I gotta say, now go step 2. And then come back. Okay, we're back at it. I hope everybody got to finish their answers here, and I hope it wasn't too tough. I hope you were able to get some right, or you feel confident with some of them, because these are things that we've been practicing in class. And if you missed any, then no worries. It's nice to make sure you kind of get a review to make sure that you've got at least a sense of them, even if you weren't there for the classes where we practiced this. So, okay, now it's time to go over the answers if you haven't already. Like I said before, if you already did, if you looked at it and just checked yourself, you don't need explanation, skip ahead. But for right now, we're going to go over the answers. So, first page here. So, to get your answers, right, you need grammar practice questions 2 and then answers. I had to print it on this one. So, that's your document you need. So, it looks exactly the same, but it has the answers highlighted, and I hope that shows up on the copy. And for the make versus do, it's just that the answers are written right in there. So, let's do it. Number 1, I'm sorry for being late. I had trouble with my car this morning. So if you said trouble sounds better, you were right. So in this case, the person's not being specific about, all the different kinds of troubles, like all the different situations. So trouble would be more general. So that's the one we use here. Number 2, she gave me some good advice. Advice is always uncountable, so no S's. If something's uncountable, it doesn't make sense for it to have a plural form. Number 3, I want to write some letters. I need some writing paper. Some writing paper. Paper is tough because paper can be either or, right? Paper... if we're talking about just paper in general, it's not countable. How many sheets of paper, like, I can't count how many sheets of paper I have in my office right now on the floor. I can't count how many pieces of paper are in my work bag. So I don't count it, then it's uncountable. But sometimes if we say, okay, you should have 3 papers, we do talk like that. It's not formally correct, but you'll hear that a lot, and it's okay. It's acceptable, usually we would say you have 3 pieces of paper. So, like we talked about in class, if you have an uncountable noun and you need to somehow give it a quantity, usually we just change the units, right? So, pieces of paper. Pieces we can count, right? Folders of paper. Folders we can count. Books of paper. Books we can count. Paper is hard. But you will hear people saying papers often, and it's acceptable. But in this case, right, we're saying some writing paper. It's uncountable, right? We don't say a paper. we never say a paper. We would say a piece of paper. I need a piece of writing paper. So because that's not what the option is, the correct one is some writing paper. Number 4, we had very good weather when we were in Greece. Not a very good weather, because weather is uncountable, and we only use an article like a or an or the. Well, the works with plurals, but a and an, it only works with singular nouns. So whether when it's uncountable, when you have an uncountable noun like weather, you can't use a or an because it's not just a singular. It's not one. It's uncountable. It has no number. It's infinite. We're getting into the secrets of the universe here. So yeah, very good weather, the first one. Number 5, when the fire started, there was complete chaos. So same thing as last question. Chaos, no way that's countable. It's too chaotic to be countable. Chaos, it's an idea, it's a concept. So we can't count it, so why would we say a? A is for singular nouns. Chaos is not singular, it's not plural, it's just uncountable. Number 6, my apartment is empty. I haven't bought any furniture yet. Furniture, always uncountable, because it's a category. It talks about a couch, it talks about tables and chairs and, shelves, whatever. Furniture is talking about all kinds of furniture. So if you're talking about specific pieces, like a chair or a table, those are countable. But the word that is a category that covers everything, that is uncountable. Kind of like luggage, right? That covers your backpack and your suitcase and your purse and whatever else. So same thing, furniture. So answer is A. Number 7, bad news doesn't make anyone happy. Yeah, news or bad news is uncountable too. It's confusing because when we talk about articles, we have to treat uncountable nouns like plurals. But when we use verbs, we have to treat uncountable nouns like singular nouns. I know it's confusing. So in this case, right, we're using the verb, right? The I do, you do, he, she doesn't, right? We do, they do. Like do is, we use it when we're talking about singular and plurals, right? So like these papers do not fit in my binder, right? My clothes do not fit in my closet, right? That's plurals. But my shirt doesn't fit me, or this paper doesn't tell me what I need to know. When we're talking about singulars, we use does. When we're talking about plurals, we use do or don't. Yeah, confusing. But with uncountable nouns, and we did go over this in class, but it was kind of, we didn't do a lot of practice with it. We just talked about it. So don't feel bad if that one's confusing for you. It makes sense. It's supposed to be confusing. So in this case, yes, when we're talking about verbs, uncountable nouns are treated like singular. So bad news, right? It doesn't make anyone happy. Just like happiness, not countable. Happiness is something everyone wants, right? Is a singular. It goes with singular pronouns. So, yeah. There's lots to uncountable nouns. That's why we had to study them this year, because they're hard, and they come into play in all the different grammar topics we study. So it's good to practice with them now and then. Finally, on number 8, I want something to read. I'm going to buy a paper. Now, I had just said that Paper is usually uncountable, so how can I use a with it? We should be a piece of paper. Well, actually, in this situation, paper is used short for newspaper. A newspaper, right? So that is something that's countable, right? Newspapers. Did you get the newspapers into the store today? Or I bought a newspaper at the store, because you can count the number. I don't know. It's the booklet, you know. It's kind of the name of a book. So it is countable in this case. So they're not just saying paper, they mean to say newspaper, but it's short. So that one's in there to kind of highlight that idea that paper can be tough with uncountable and countable nouns. Yeah. So practice with that. Number 9, I need to buy some bread for breakfast. Bread is not countable. We can say slices of bread, we can say pieces of bread, but bread itself, you know, we could say loaves of bread, but we can't actually count the idea of bread. You know, it's weird. So we would say some bread. Treat it like it's plural with articles. And a bread doesn't work because it makes it like a singular noun, and it's not. Number 10, it's very difficult to find work at the moment. If it was job, then it would be a job, right? Jobs are countable, but work isn't. Work kind of encompasses all the tasks you do. You know, job is like the thing you go to do to work, so it's countable, but work is not. So its answer is B there. Very confusing stuff. Those of you who were not with us in the beginning of the school year when we did a bit more practice with these uncountable and countable nouns, this might be a challenge for you, and that's okay. You know, you have a little less practice than everybody else, and it's a very tricky topic because it is so all over the place, right? Why is it treated as a singular noun in some situations, and why is it treated as a plural in others? I don't know. Can't make up your minds about it. So I think really the biggest thing to do with uncountable and countable nouns is practice. Just kind of get used to it and recognize these situations. So if you're looking for more questions and more practice with uncountable and countable nouns, you could easily just Google it and say like practice tests or practice exercises or grammar study, and you'll find tons of stuff that explain more about it, and tons of online questionnaires you could do to help you practice, and they give the answers too. I don't know if you could hear that, but I know that my husband made a good move with his card game. I heard Boron go, I heard his friend go, Rah! So yeah. Alright, let's go to the make or do section now. So these questions, we just had to fill in the blank with either make or do. So number 1, how much money does a waitress make? We make money. A good rule of thumb, and I'm sure I've repeated this many times in the morning class, but for the sake of our evening students who are looking at this video too, the general rule with make or do is that make, we use it most of the time when we don't have something, and then whatever verb we're doing makes it so that we do have something. We don't have something and then we do. So something is produced or created, made. Do is more regarding tasks, just doing the actions. Or when we are replacing a verb in a sentence that's obvious, like do the dishes, instead of saying wash the dishes. So this might be a little bit new for you guys if you're in the evening class and you're trying this lesson. But it's good practice, and you can kind of get a sense of it from doing this as well. And always, if you're really stuck, you could just listen to me talk about it, and that might help too. Okay, so in this case, right, the waitress is making money. She has no money in her hand, and then she works and money she does have money in her hand. So she is creating something, producing something where she didn't have something before. She's making money. Number 2, could you please do the laundry today? We have no clean clothes. So the word we're using here is do. Do the laundry. So again, that's just replacing the word wash. Can you please wash the laundry and wash our clothes? We're just replacing it. It's not like you have nothing and then, you have clothes and then you have cleaner clothes. You're not creating something of nothing. So do. Number 3, she spent the evening watching movies and doing her nails. So another time we are replacing a verb of painting her nails or filing her nails or cutting her nails or whatever she's doing with her nails. So doing her nails, it kind of covers all of that, making her nails nice. It's just not specific, that's all. Number 4, did their new business make a profit last year? It's make. And that's because it's very similar to number 1. Make a profit is the same thing as making money. So, same thing. You don't have a profit, we work, and then we make it. We have it. Number 5 we're on. The teacher made some very positive comments about Susie's work. Made. A good one to remember too is that made is applied whenever there's some, like a noise or a sound or someone talking or something. So in this case, comments, right? Comments are the thing that is, she doesn't have any comments, doesn't have positive comments, and then the teacher makes it. So it's still, you're kind of creating, right? Because you're creating sound. So it still fits into the idea of that you had nothing, you had no comments, and now you have comments because the teacher made them. Yeah, hope that's clear enough. I like that we have some similar reasoning here so you can see how it works in a whole bunch of different situations. Number 6, there's so much paperwork to do. I'll be here all night. So this one, do. Paperwork. When we're talking about paperwork, we're talking about just work that you have to do on paper. So it's a task. It's not like you're creating paper. You're just doing work. It's just like doing homework or doing your work. So do for that one. What's the next one? Number 7. Number 7. The manager of the company made some interesting observations during his visit to our department. So the manager of the company is coming in. He hasn't seen what's going on in the department before, so he has no observations. But when he comes in and he's looking around and he's talking to people, he's making observations. He's seeing and learning things about the department where he didn't have any before. So that's why we say make there. Number 8, I'd like to make Julie a job offer. It will be a full-time position at our office. So making a job offer. Again, you don't have an offer, you give an offer. Plus it's usually verbal, right? Where you're making a sound, I guess. You're talking and saying, oh, would you like this job? So creating something that wasn't there before. Make. Number 9, there was a man sitting on the pier and doing a painting of the boats. This one's tricky. That's why I have on your answer sheet here, I put a little note on the corner there. A painting. A painting is something that we so obviously, right, we don't have a painting. And then we make, like, we create it, we produce it, and then we do have it. So it feels like a painting should be making a painting, right? But we say doing a painting. It's just one of those exceptions. Unless there's some convoluted reason for it that I'm maybe not aware of or not savvy to, if you remember our vocabulary from lesson 1, savvy. Sorry, be creepy. So yes, if you, yeah, it's an exception. Saying doing a painting instead of making a painting, or doing a drawing. With art stuff like that, yeah, with drawing and painting, it's do. Or even like an essay, doing an essay. There's certain things that are, it seems like it should be make because it's produced, but they treat it as in like it's a task you're doing. So I'm not sure why that is, but it's an exception to the rule. There's a few exceptions like that. That's what I'm calling it right now anyway, is an exception. So just be aware of those. But I think if you're speaking to people or you're writing and you say making a painting or whatever, because it's kind of an exception and it's kind of debatable, you can get away with it. You know, you don't want to do it all the time, and you don't want to do it if you're writing something super formal, but you can definitely get away with it for sure. Okay, number 10. Oh, we're almost there. This class is so boring. Let's make an escape during the break and go to the coffee shop. Yeah, I'm sure sometimes you think like that when I'm yapping on and on and on. So yes, let's make an escape. Yeah, another weird one. Yeah, it feels like you should do an escape because it's an action, right, to escape. But yeah, it's treated like, okay, you don't have an escape, you're just sitting there, and then you make a plan for an escape. Plans and schedules and any kind of decisions or choices, they're also something we use make with a lot. So I think making an escape has to do with that too. Okay, number 11. Even if I make an excuse about why I'm late, my boss won't believe me. So make, right, it's a sound to make an excuse, and because you're talking, and you don't have an excuse and you're creating one to give to your boss, but they won't believe you, right? Number 12, stop talking and do some work. Good one to use on your kids when they just won't do their homework. Yeah, do some work. It's a task, so simple. Number 13, I'm going to work all weekend. I really want to make some progress on this project. So the thing we're making here, that we're creating where we have none, is progress. So, right, I've got some report cards to make for you guys, and I've only made a little progress. So I don't have them done, but the more I work, the more progress is made. So if I say do report cards, I have to do my report cards, meaning I have to write my report cards, then I would say doing them. But yeah, when it's progress, we make it. 14, could you please make sure my money has been deposited into my banking account? Make sure, this is another kind of difficult one. We always say make sure when we say, can you please confirm my money, or just double check, right? We always say make sure. That one's a bit tricky, a bit tough, but we always say that instead of those phrases like can you check, can you check, can you double check to see if it's right? We say make sure all the time. Okay, number 15, last one. I asked Greg if he wanted to come, but he still needs to make his mind up. That one is about decision making. So that's one of the categories we use make in, is decision making, choices, planning. So he's making his mind up. That's an expression in itself. Even make sure, that's an expression in itself as well. So a lot of English expressions don't really make sense when you think about them literally. But yeah, that part's just practice and getting comfortable with them and familiar. So you have some examples here. So this make versus do part, a little bit trickier, right, than the first part, and all the grammar practice we did today was trickier than the ones we did in our last lesson. So it's kind of a step up. If you managed to do it and get a lot right, then way to go, good for you. If you didn't, then don't forget to write down your questions or put a big red circle around the questions that gave you the most trouble. And I would love it if you would call Debi and talk to Debi about it and ask for a better explanation. And remember that Debi has a lot of experience, and she's totally certified in teaching English as an additional language, where I am more certified in literacy. That's my experience area. So or my specialty area. I have experience with you guys. So Debi knows what she's talking about, and she may have some really great advice and be able to explain things in a way that I can't. It's always good to get another opinion and another explanation from a different person, because sometimes I might say something or explain something and it might make zero sense. And then you go and ask someone else, and just the way they explain it, they could be talking about the exact same thing. It just clicks. So sometimes it's not necessarily about the difficulty of the topic. Sometimes it's just about who you're getting the information from. So please use our resources that we're offering. Talk to Debi, talk to Erma, ask your questions, talk to each other, and you'll be able to understand a lot better the more people you talk to. And that's number one. I promise I won't get jealous of other teachers. I promise. As long as you get it and you learn something and you're happy, then I'm happy too. Yeah. Okay, so that's it for our grammar stuff today and for the whole summer. Woo! Well, I think you should also practice in the summer. And I know some of you, Sylvia, will have your own grammar booklets that you're practicing with, and that's great. The more you can practice with that stuff, the more you write, the more you read, the more you're going to learn, right? Even if you're just writing a diary, and not worrying as much about spelling and grammar, or you're checking it later, or whatever. Or if you're writing down, what you did that, that's what a diary is, writing down what you did that day, or, copying off of some notes that we did in class before. All of that stuff is extremely useful, even if it's just small things. That practice over time makes a huge difference. And reading, even simple things, right? You're seeing examples of good sentence structure, good vocabulary, good grammar, good formatting, everything. You're seeing that as an example every time you read. It's kind of like brushing your teeth, or exercising. Like, you brush your teeth once, it's not going to make a difference at all. Maybe make your breath a little better for a few hours. But if you brush your teeth twice a day, every day, it's going to make a huge difference, right? Same thing with exercising. You can't just work out once and expect to shrink. You have to work out every day or every second day over a longer period of time in order to see the results. And it's the exact same thing with learning. So do that, Think of it like exercising, but for your brain. Okay. Let's say goodbye to the grammar for now. It's done. Throw it away. For now. Next, we're going to do our final vocabulary activity, and it's just something kind of fun, kind of easy. You could challenge yourself if you want, or you could just keep it low-key if you prefer. So the next thing we're doing here is a categories activity. So I don't know if anyone's heard of the game Scatagories, where it's not a real word, it's just like the name of the game, Scatagories. It's a play on scatter and categories, where is it? You just have a bunch of different categories, which is classes of things or sections of things, and then you have to name as many things as you can that are connected to that topic or that category. and usually I think this categories game, they do it with where you have to have it starting with a letter A or letter D or whatever letter. This one I've made it easier. So the categories activity here, I've given you 3 categories with 10 lines. So that's on this document here, your categories activity, with the list here and the lines and the spaces. And keep in mind this here, you could see number 10, like 1 to 10, 1 to 10, 1 to 8. It's just because it didn't fit on the page when I reformatted it to PDF. So you have that little tiny 9 and 10 on the other side of the page. So how it works is you just name as many things that fit in the category. So it's an opportunity for you to challenge yourself with your vocabulary. So, if we look at category 1, things you bring on a picnic, right? Could keep it simple and say, well, shoes. You need shoes if you're going outside. Or you can kind of be, really creative and say something like, oh, charcuterie. You can think of and find some interesting words. It's really kind of open depending on how much you want to challenge yourself. It's also just something fun. It's kind of a good get-to-know-you game, too. So you can always share your answers on the comments for the video or share them in class with your classmates when you're there together. And, have some fun with it. Have some fun with it. So, again, all you do, you have the categories. So, like things you bring on a picnic, write as many things down. You could write 10, and if you want more, you can fill in more. And if you're in the classroom with your classmates, maybe make a little competition of it and see who can think of the most things. The second one is things you can find in a bathroom. So that one could be fun. So yeah, talk about what's in your bathroom, all the different products, all the different, what your bathroom looks like even, things you can find in a bathroom. So you can go crazy with it. The last one is things that are scary. So that's a good get-to-know-you one, because what scares you? Or you could just think about scary things in general, right? Like mummies or I won't give any more away. I should let you guys do it. So you guys go ahead, take some time, do this activity, think of as many things as you can, and if you really want to challenge yourself, think of or try and include words that you've never used before, or maybe you need a translator to get the right one, or maybe you're not sure how to spell it. So challenge yourself, and of course you can use whatever tools you need, a translator, a dictionary, thesaurus, whatever you need. So take the time to do that, and when we come back, we'll wrap things up, because that's basically the last thing we're doing. So have fun with your categories, and I'll see you in a moment. Now go do step 5. Okay, I hope you guys had fun writing all your category words down. If you got the chance to compete, that's awesome. I'd be really excited to hear about that, and maybe we can do it again sometime when I'm there, because I would love to hear what you come up with. Another way, I think this is how this categories game is actually played, but another way to compete is, instead of just thinking who can name the most, is who can name the most creative or unique things that fit in the category. So like if nobody else thinks of it, you get an extra point, So that's another fun way to do it. And it's a great game that you could play with your family too. So, on those rainy summer days when you wanted to go on a picnic, but you're stuck inside during a scary storm, you can definitely sit together, and this is something you can do when, not have the TV on or not be in your phone. So it's nice. Okay, so let's talk about it. I'll give my answers, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to give you my answers, and you have it, Amanda's answers, so it's not the right answers, it's just Amanda's answers. So you might have lots of these. I named some simple ones, and then, whatever I could think of, I went with. So first one, I got some standard things for things you bring on a picnic. Picnic basket. I got a blanket. I got sandwiches. I got bug spray, because I hate bugs. Get away from me. Hand sanitizer, because we gotta be clean. Our hands have gotta be clean when we eat our sandwiches. Napkins, another thing to keep us clean. Lemonade. I feel like lemonade is just a picnic drink, you know? You need lemonade on a picnic, so there you go. Sunscreen. For me, right, I'm either a mist color or lobster color. Very, very red. So I need sunscreen, SPF 60. Snacks to go with our sandwiches and our lemonade. And hats. More sun protection. So these are the things I thought of. I'm sure you guys had some different words, some really creative ones. And if you're really stuck on any of your words, like with the spelling or with, if you want to know if you're using it right or anything like that, definitely something to keep in your question collection for Debi or Erma or for each other or me. So, yeah. All right, let's do category number 2, things you find in a bathroom. My first one was toilet, of course, because I have a very amateur sense of humor. So toilet. Sink, shower, bathtub, the basics, right? Towels, a mirror, I use that a lot for my hair and my makeup, toilet paper, toothbrushes, of course, we're talking about teeth brushing, so there you go, toothpaste, and hairbrush. I could have gone on forever. I'm sure lots of the ladies have like, and the guys too probably have like lotions or like beard oil or a comb or all that good stuff that helps us take care of ourselves and makes us feel all nice and clean. So those are my answers. Pretty basic ones. I didn't go too crazy with it. Category 3. This is where I kind of went out. I was very honest with this one. Things that are scary. Spiders, number 1. Arachnophobia is a real thing, and it's terrifying. Bugs, related to spiders. Any of spiders' friends? No. Any of their food? No, I don't like it. Yuck. I don't like thinking about it. Old potatoes. That I laughed when I wrote that down, but it's the truth. I'm being honest. When I see an old potato and it's all wrinkly and gross and it has all the roots growing out of it, the roots are like, they look like thorny spider legs. So again, clearly I'm scared of spiders if I'm scared of old potatoes because they look spidery. I don't like that. So when the potatoes get old, I don't like making potatoes with supper because I don't like reaching into the bag to get the old potatoes past the spidery roots. So I have to be very brave when I'm cooking with old potatoes. Not too old. I'm not that bad a cook. So yeah, old potatoes, real scary. Deadlines. I feel like everyone gets a little scared of deadlines, right? Things that, the date that things are due, always scary. Big crowds. For me, I do not like big crowds. I get really freaked out. I'm afraid that I'll be trampled. I'm not exactly the biggest person in the world, and it's irrational. It's another phobia, I guess. I'm scared I'll get trampled. Death. I feel like that's a basic one, you know. Everyone's kind of scared of dying. Huge trucks. They're really big and loud and smelly, and when they drive beside you, they drive beside me, I feel like I'm gonna crash. So I'm scared of big trucks. Possessed people. Yeah. Any horror movie, if it's like sharks or murderers, I can handle murderers. They're just the most realistic thing. The scariest thing I find is possessed people. I don't know, there's something about possessed people in movies, right? In those scary movies. I can't watch those kind of movies. I'll have nightmares for weeks. Spider webs. Can't forget about that one, because spider webs mean there's spiders nearby. And the dark. That's a truthful one, too. I may be an adult, but I still get scared of the dark, especially if I have been thinking about spiders or have recently seen a spider or have just watched a movie about possessed people. Then the dark's really scary. So, so that you got a really basic bathroom category one, and then you got all these very specific and strange fears and the scary one. So have your fun with that. I'm really interested in what everyone else wrote for their category. So, yes, if you are so inclined. Oh, sorry, I just spit. I'm too excited here. Oh, you probably saw that too. Yuck. Sorry, guys. Yeah, if you're so inclined, let's say it more gently that time, then please share your answers on the comments. I really, really want to know what they are, and I think it'd be really fun for you guys to share with each other. Okay, so now we are done. That's it. That's the last of it. So if you've been following all the classes on schedule, this is your very last one with me. Some of you have Erma's class tomorrow, or a computer class with Nalini to finish off. But yeah, otherwise this is it. So you have the whole summer ahead of you. If you need any extra time to work on any of your assignments from these lessons, now you have the summer to do it, which is nice. And our first class back is September 11th. That's a Monday. September 11th. That's an important day, so it's an easy one to remember. That's why I remember it so well. September 11th is a Monday, our first day back. Right now, as of now, our classes are going to be the same days. For sure, the morning classes will remain the same days, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. The evening classes will probably remain the same, but I am looking into increasing the number of evening classes and maybe doing a second one. And if that happens, that'll be a lot for me to take on. So we might hire a new teacher. So we'll see how that goes. Kind of letting you into the little secret there about that. I don't know yet, because we don't know about our funding for next year at this point in time. So we have to see if we can afford it first, if the government will approve another hire and another evening class. But that's something I'm working on for you evening students, because once a week for 2 hours is just so little, you know. And when you're working all day and you have families and you're busy, you know, it's hard to get there every Tuesday, every week. And then there's the weather issue too, especially at night. The list goes on. So having another option for you guys is really important, and I emphasized that when I applied for our funding for next year. So hopefully we get that, so you get that extra class and extra time to work on your skills that you need. But either way, I don't know that yet. I don't know for sure what's going to happen, but I will let you know. Usually what I do, and what all the teachers do, is in the beginning of September, after the long weekend, between the long weekend, September long, I think that's the 4th. Yeah, September 4th. It's usually Monday long, eh? Whatever. Between September long and the first day of class, so that's about a week, the first week of September, we will be calling you guys, or emailing or texting you, whatever. We'll be contacting you somehow, just to remind you of our start date and to let you know about any changes in the schedule, right? So for sure by then, I will know the details about our evening classes and if there are any changes. I believe Erma and Nalini's classes will be staying the same next year too. So that's that. Oh, it feels weird. I'm kind of dragging out the end of this video because it's hard to say goodbye. Even though I've already said goodbye, you guys, I'm already in Budapest right now. So yeah, you guys, I hope you all have an absolutely beautiful summer. Enjoy your time with your families. Have fun. Get out there and enjoy the splash pads and the pools and everything, and the nice, warm Manitoba summer before we get back into the freezing cold winter again. We have short summers. Enjoy every second of it. I'll miss you guys, and yeah, that's it. I will see you all in September. I will talk to you then, and I wish you all the best. See you later. Bye.